All right, we are live. What is up, crypto junkies? Jay here, and welcome to another stream. We're going to be doing some Bitcoin and gold and silver really quick analysis. 15 minutes. Usually ends up being more than that because I talk some shit. But just quick analysis, fill you in on what's going on with the markets right now. So let me just move this out of the way. I gotta get some stuff pulled up. Let's start with the news, right? So, which we'll talk about this, by the way. BTC on a serious run up right now. Yeah, so that is good news because it was literally do or die for Bitcoin. So it looks like we're in good shape. It looks like we're breaking up because it was pretty much a mutual or bilateral pattern that I was seeing. So I'm really glad to see it break up. But it was in a much bigger wedge, right? So there's layers to this thing, right? Like we've got what's happening on the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 60-minute, and then we've got what's been happening since May and this bigger wedge that we're in, right? So we'll talk about all this. Is the video quality, is it blurry too, or is that just on my preview screen that it looks blurry like that? Are you actually seeing it blurry? I don't know what that is. I don't know why. And then it just goes away. And on the replay, it doesn't show up that way either. Not all the time. When we do the Zoom stuff and I have somebody on with me, it can stay blurry. Really weird. Let's give it a second here. Let's give it a sec. Okay, so let's start talking about some news too. By the way, what's up, everybody? Thanks for jumping on with me. Okay, so a couple things that breadcrumbs, right? I lay down the breadcrumbs. You guys piece together the stories. A couple pieces. We have Bitmain, which is currently valued at 12 billion. By the way, it was estimated that they generated profits between 3 and 4 billion in 2017. Well, it turns out last week, in an SEC filing, there was a little something that snuck through that nobody realized until literally today, is that Bitmain will be investing 50 million into Opera. What that means is that they're going to be buying $50 million worth of shares in Opera, the browser, which is what I use. I love Opera because it's the most resource light browser, especially in comparison to Chrome, which is utter garbage in terms of using memory and things like that. But it was hidden because it's Toespring. So Toespring or Teespring, well, no, it's not Teespring, it's TO Spring, so Toespring. Toespring Technology Ltd. is the actual company that is Bitmain, right? And they're really secretive. Like, I don't know if you guys have been following them. They're really secretive about what they do and, how they do it. But anyways, they kind of slid that in there. So, and they're smart. So you got to be wondering, why would they be investing 50 million into what a lot of people call a sleepy or dead browser, which I don't personally think that, but a lot of people think Opera is. So what we're starting to see is the macro game, the pieces that will make the macro later on laid out in front of us right now. Okay, so these are the chips. Mark my words. These are the chips that end up being the bigger things later on. I don't know what it is yet. Excuse me. But this is the stuff that lays out the future. Bitmain is already like one of the largest mining farms in the world for Bitcoin. They have a ton of weight. They have also showed collusion with Bitcoin Cash in the past. So this is all very interesting stuff. And then the second thing, I couldn't find the article, so I don't know the name. Excuse me sounding ignorant, but Facebook just allocated somebody new to the blockchain sector. There's been rumor that Facebook was looking to buy Coinbase. Coinbase is rolling out fucking products right and left. So there's definitely some big macro plays that we're starting to see rolled out. The last thing we want, I'm going to tell you right now, the last thing we want is crooked, shady fucking Facebook buying out one of the largest exchanges. Well, the largest exchange in the United States. That is the last thing we want. So again, you got to be able to disseminate and draw the line. So many people crying like, oh, we can't wait for institutional money. Oh, I'm sure they're rallying. It'd be such a good thing for Facebook to buy Coinbase. Fuck no, it wouldn't. So look at all this stuff that's come out with Facebook, and then Zuck just shows up on TV and looks like an idiot slash alien, and it's not a good thing, okay? It just puts them more in your pocket and more intertwined with your data, and who knows what they do with it. Some of the collusion stuff with the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton is just scary. So no, it's not a good thing. We want to keep that out of there and those things separate, right? So anyway, the next piece, let's talk quickly. A piece of gold news is there's a ton of countries that are scooping up gold right now, but yet there's people that are actively saying it's garbage, right? You got Mark Cuban saying it's crap, Warren Buffett, nah, it's not worth anything, but yet countries and central banks are buying it up, right? And so this is a prime example of like this. When I talk about this, 99% of people will just say, no, Jay's wrong. But what we have is we have fundamentals breaking down, and the price of gold and silver, when it should be going up, it's going down. Well, all that doesn't prove much, except that there could be suppression, active suppression going on. Okay, and I've said this for like 4 days in a row now, but I'm just hoping that more and more people really get it and start to do research themselves. So when all the fundamental is telling you that the price should be going up and it's going down, that's most likely just suppression. So the U.S. debt ratio is going up. It's at an all-time high. The fiat currency has lasted longer than any other fiat currency in the history of fiat currencies. We have all this proof and evidence that the U.S. dollar should not be strong right now. Yet it is, and yet the things that are real, gold and silver, are down. This is when you buy. This is the play that nobody looks at. All the speculators, they don't look at stuff like this. All the micro traders, they don't look at stuff like this. The retail money, they're just riding news waves. The actual investors, the fund managers, they look at shit like this. And that is why they are the ones scooping up gold and silver right now. We got the Egyptian billionaire who invested half of his $5.7 billion net worth into gold recently. I think that was like last month. Jeffrey Gundlach, Ray Dalio, they've been allocating more of their funds to precious metals, you know? So it's like you got the guys, you got the smart guys allocating funds in, right? And it reminds me, excuse me, it reminds me back when last year when it was still like the fun game for companies to actually be investing in blockchain technology, but yet the CEO would show up on TV and make fun of it. It's the same thing. You know, zig zag, I guess, would be the cliche thing to mention here, okay? All right, so let's see. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, all right, we got 17 people on the stream. Thanks, guys, for joining in. The streams are starting to pick back up again. YouTube, it's just the algorithm thing, and the channel, it totally makes the channel just die, which fucking sucks, because I think we shoot really, really great content, and not a lot of people get to see it a lot of times. So unless we do clickbaity titles, a lot of times these videos don't get out. So really quick, if you like what we're talking about, you like what we're doing on the channel, just click the like button. It takes 2 seconds. If you're not subscribed and you stick around and you like what we're doing, subscribe. Hit the bell notification. That way you don't miss out on any alerts. But let's get into BTC charts, hey? All right, so we're on the 1 hour, and you see that we're just taking a rocket ship up, which, thank fucking God. Because the other scenario is like 4,400 to 4,600, which we still might get. But for now, it looks like we're safe. All right, so 4.6% jump. All right, so this is the 1 hour. So what do we see here? What do we see here? What is the common theme? We've got these pennants essentially being created. Doot. One there. Doot. One there. Hope you enjoy my sound effects. And then we've got a wedge here, right? So here's our baseline here, this red line here. Let's make this a little thicker just for our 2-second visual reference. You see it now? Okay. So this line here is a line of significance. Reason why is because it acts as what? Support and resistance. It has acted as support and resistance throughout time on the chart of Bitcoin. That is what this is. So this is a support and resistance line. I just call them lines of significance, okay? And so this is a line that we need to pay attention to. So that is why I drew it out. And then the second line that we needed to pay attention to is this one right here, which is 6742. So the first one I had, and I'm going to talk through this in case you are getting blur screen still, 6534. Second one I've got is 6736. Now what you notice with guys who chart is we don't all have the same exact number. It's a roundabout number, and that's okay. The reason why is because it's essentially a little zone. It's a little pocket, maybe a $20 pocket, maybe a $50 pocket, but it is a little tiny micro zone that acts as the support and resistance zone, and that is with the bodies of the candles, and that is with the wicks. Okay. So the good news is that right now on the 1 hour, we have officially just broken through the 67, what is it? 6742 line that I have drawn out, which is another line of significance, and that is a good thing. And so let's look at another little zone here. I've got this long diagonal red line, which, what the hell is that, Jay? Glad you asked. I'm gonna go ahead and break that one down for you. Oh, that is the big one. Okay, hold on. Let me zoom out to show you this. This is the big boy. We just broke through that. Did we really? Yeah. Okay. So that is the big guy that has been happening since May. So now let me go back to the 1 hour. So since May, we have had an upper limit diagonal. Since May, it is essentially acted as a resistance, a moving trend / resistance line. And if you see here, the price action that we just broke through, we started to pick up on that last 1 hour candle, and now this last one just broke right through it. That's great, because what happens in a wedge scenario? Well, depending on how the wedge is shaped, it breaks up or breaks down. But the same thing with a resistance line, and the same thing with testing a support and resistance line is we keep hitting the resistance. So we keep, the wick will hit it, and then we fall back down. Wick will hit it again, fall back down, and you only can test so many times, and it either breaks up or breaks down, right? And so what we see here finally is a trend line since fucking May of this year. We have broken through it. That is beautiful. That is so, so important, because even if the price breaks down tomorrow to 4,600, it doesn't matter because we've now broken the whole cycle. And so this changes everything now, which is really, really good. All right. We've got our RSI through the roof on the 1 hour. MACD crossed over and now is officially crossed over the signal line, and our histogram is floating up above now. Okay. Oh, prime time for software update. We'll wait on that. I get that almost every day on the streams. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I just have forgotten it's Stream Deck to keep updating it. So this is really, really good news, because before this happened, I was about to get on and say, well, we're kind of doing the same shit. And the same shit meaning consolidating, accumulation. Okay, so if we snap on Bollinger Bands for a second, look at what we saw here. Look at this. It's squeezing the bulge, right? Go look up John Bollinger and research Bollinger Bands. He's got a webinar. It's like 5 years old, but it's a 1 hour webinar. It tells you exactly what Bollinger Bands actually are. But there's two basics to it. We bulge together. We squeeze together, and then we bulge. So contrast and contract, right? We squeeze together, then poof, we blow up. And that is just what we saw. So all of this accumulation, boring, yawn, not doing shit, right here, which gets a lot of people just waiting on the sidelines. Now we see some action. Okay, so there's nothing to do yet. This isn't going to make people just this isn't going to make your experienced day traders start trading, but it is a great sign. Okay. Oh, nice. Use Bollinger Bands to hold up your drawers. Good. That's good. You got to use them somewhere, you know, JG? You got to use them somewhere, brother. Okay, so, yeah, we broke out of this wedge happening since May. We also had just a couple-day wedge here that we broke out of yesterday, which I referenced. So this now line is fairly insignificant. But, yeah, we broke through this, which is the big news, all right? And so now we're still, remember this? I think I started talking way back. When did I start doing these streams? I think I started back here somewhere. I don't know. But we're now being fully supported on the 200 EMA. So we saw a bounce off of it here. We're floating above. My green line is the 200 EMA. 100 is the blue and 55 is the yellow. So we've got some good gapping and distance in between these still, which is a good sign as well. So when you see big gapping like this, it's usually a good indicator. But that's on the hour, so let's jump back now to the daily. I wanted to start in opposite today, so zoom in and then zoom back out. All right, so let me just open this up a little bit. But yeah, here is that significance line back here starting in May. So you'll see we just broke above that finally on today's daily candle, which is so important. Okay, so now we've done that. And we're breaking through right now the 6740 or 6742 line, which is a significance line. So for today, to continue on this, let's say, bullish scenario, we want to break through this 67 line, 6740 line, and close above it. Then tomorrow we want to open above it and, you know, start another green candle for that day. And it doesn't have to. It has to just close above this line tomorrow from a 48-hour standpoint, okay? So that is the bullish case, is we keep running up and we charge on 7,000, okay? Which from there, it should be pretty clear through 7,000 at that point, okay? So that's really, really good. We're now breaking that pattern. That's very exciting to see because that's one that I've been tracking. And the second thing, the second big line that we're charging towards now is this big fat red line that you see here, which depending on what day we're at is somewhere, it's somewhere from 7,800 to 8,400. That is this next big red line. So let me zoom out and show you that. And this one started all the way back here in January. So this other trend line that we've been seeing since January is now the next big line. So it's like, okay, if we were to fast forward and say, okay, so we break through 7,000, great. We'll have some support and resistance happening through there. We'll have some chop, right? And then our maximum or our next big significant point would be, you know, that zone. So what you look at is like today we're right here. So if it did it today, it's 85, 87, but you see it obviously goes down the more days that we might see some chop here on our way up, which is most likely, especially with the volume. And we look, the volume isn't high. That's the only thing I don't really like about today is the volume is still pretty low. So that tells me that it's not going to be a moonshot by any means, but we'll get some good action today. And then hopefully we can stay above these lines and those lines are supported, okay? Histogram still looking good on the daily, and you'll see we're kind of floating in this median area of the RSI. Cool. And that is it. Oh, so, no, it's not. Let's look back on 1 hour. There was something I wanted to show. No, we need 4 hour. 1 hour is not going to do it. And it's essentially an inverse head and shoulders, okay? So shoulder, head, shoulder. All right, so inverse head and shoulders is usually a bullish move. And right now, to a degree, we're getting some confluence of that. So left shoulder, right, and then left shoulder, left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder. Usually you want the volume to be at least matching, which it's kind of. It's definitely not higher than here. And so, yeah, the higher the volume is over here, the more of a moonshot we get out of that right shoulder. But yeah, we're not necessarily getting it. And also, too, something else I want to point out is on RSI, it's way more significant to see oversold than it is to see overbought territory. You know, overbought territory, for whatever reason, you can just kind of keep pushing. Oversold territory, it really, because of how that actually roots to supply and demand and psychology, to me, oversold is much more significant than overbought, right? I don't even really pay attention to overbought, whereas I completely pay attention to oversold. Okay. Oh, I updated this. It's actually published on my TradingView. So if you wanted to follow that, I'll keep updating this as I get more dates. But this is all the dates I could find for CBOE dates on the futures expiration dates and CME. Now you'll notice that there's some purple missing, right? There's some CBOE dates missing. It's because I couldn't find them. We have the official launch dates. I was actually a day off on this too. CBOE launched on December 10th and CME launched on December 18th. I thought it was the 17th, okay? But it launched on the 18th is the official date. So these are all the dates that are publicly available. That's me back checking any Bitcoin calendar I could find, CBOE website itself, and everything in between, right? So these are the dates. I'll keep updating this as I get more. And the reason why I have this, and I think it's so important for you to follow along with, is because there is significant price action that does happen around these days. Now, we see a lot of negative price action or price suppression happening around these dates, so that obviously, depending on the amount of shorts and longs or the amount of people banking on this price versus that price on the future contracts, that is very, very significant, okay? And what was interesting is yesterday, we actually saw an increase in shorts, and yet today we're seeing a good breakout in price action. So that is good news, okay? And then, so this is the last this is the last CME date for the year, and then this is the end of the year, this green line. So it's published on my TradingView. I did a Steam it about it yesterday. That's posted in the Discord if you want it, but let me pull it up really quick and I'll pop it in the chat in case you're not in a Discord. Ooh, did I link to that? Hold on, give me 2 seconds here. Yeah, there it is. All right. If you're not in a Discord, you probably should be. 5,300 members strong now. You believe that shit? 5,300 people. I remember when there's 30 people, 100 people, and we were just twiddling our thumbs. Everybody knew each other really well, though. I would say that. And everybody, you know, everybody was kind of friends and whatnot. So, okay, I put it in the description box as well. And so that way you can stay up to date on that. So I get crazy, methodical, analytical, whatever you want to call it, right? Here's the next thing I'm working on. I am going to have somebody research every single significant news drop since July of last year. Excuse me. And I'm going to plot all that out. And I'm going to give it to you guys for free. So that is coming up. It'll probably take me about 2 weeks to put that together. And what we're looking for here is there are these theories out there. And some people who talk about this, they're more annoying than others. I really don't like when people use fear and like a loud voice and they feel like they gotta yell about this shit for it to like sink in. I think if you come from more of a compassionate standpoint and just like calm and collective, people absorb your information better. So anyways, there's some people out there in the working theory is that price is being suppressed on Bitcoin like it has been in gold and silver for the last 25 years because of the futures market. There's a lot of evidence to support this, by the way. Now, what I'm going to do is the reason why I want to sync up all these dates and all these news drops is to see how that correlates with price so that we can actually get a better gauge on FUD and FOMO. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for all the good news and all the bad news. Right? And I'm looking for how that's been reflected in price action for those days. And I think it's going to be fascinating to look at that data. And you, regardless of what you are, speculator, investor, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I think it'll be insanely valuable for you. And that's the whole point of it. So anyways, we're working on that. And I can guarantee you that a lot of the FUD will coincide and sync up magically with expiration dates in the last 5 to 6 days before an expiration date on these Bitcoin future contracts, okay? But we'll see. So anyways, yeah, you got that to look forward to. But this is up. I gave you the link. You can follow me on Steemit if you aren't already. We're about to start a Steemit community hustle, by the way, which will ensure that people make money off Steemit. You know, you can make hundreds and thousands of dollars off of Steemit. I had no clue. Somebody just brought this to my attention about a week ago. I kind of blew it off. Yesterday I chatted again with JD from the community. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you. And we're about to start a hustle so that everybody can start making at least like 10, 20 bucks a day off of Steemit. Steemit is hilarious because not everyone, a lot of people don't like it, but it is an actual coin that has a use case. So call me crazy, but I thought that's what we were going for. So Steem, I like. We're about to start a Steemit hustle. But anyways, that's all published on Steemit for you guys. Those are the expiration dates as of right now. Let's jump into gold and silver real quick. Wrap it up. I'm way behind. 22 minutes. Holy crap. I got some sleep, so I'm feeling better too. I started getting a little bit sick. I literally went about a week on about 10 hours worth of sleep. Note to self, I get dumber the less sleep I get. So not good for me. We had this epic bounce, bullish engulfing candle. That looks like a hammer. Yep, we got a hammer daily. That's not good. And then now today, I believe this candle, yeah, so we're forming a red candle for today. Gold, silver works way slower, but gold and silver are pegged to each other, very similar to ETH and Bitcoin, okay? So I don't sell gold and silver. I also don't really care what the fiat value of gold and silver is today. Like, I'm not basing it off of that. I'm basing it just like how I'm essentially building my portfolio off of Satoshis, and I'm only focused on how much Bitcoin value, Bitcoin Satoshis I have in my portfolio, right? Because at the end of the day, I think we're going to just come back to a very small amount of crypto, and Bitcoin will remain king, okay? No matter how hard Bitcoin Cash tries. I think Bitcoin Cash should probably just go and be Bitcoin Cash instead of trying to be Bitcoin. Okay, so same thing with gold and silver. I'm basing it off of grams and ounces. I don't give a shit what that's worth in dollar because I don't think the US dollar and fiat currency will be around. Whether they purposefully are going to bail out and use crypto as an excuse to move all digital currency, or they're the ones who created it, I don't really care. I'm building my portfolio off of the amount of ounces and grams that I'm accumulating. So I use a very simple strategy for gold and silver. And I encourage you, if you don't give a shit about looking at charts, to do the same. You just buy when it's oversold. That's it. You buy some every time it's oversold. So we're on a daily chart. So it would literally be like, okay, 628. Oh, cool. I buy. 7.2. Sweet. I buy. That's it. Like, that's really it. And now if you look historically, like, we don't get down to this territory very often at all. So these days, you buy a lot, okay? And this follows the actual RSI strategy video that I published, which is like you buy down here, 20 to 30 on the RSI, and you sell some up here on the 60, or excuse me, on the 70 to 80 range. And you could make this strategy way better if you just incorporated simple moving averages. That's it, okay? But yeah, so you just buy when the RSI dips and you sell at the top. Great question. Where do you buy? 2 places. And I encourage you to do the research yourself and the price and make sure you're getting the best deal. But you could buy through Vaultoro, which allows you to move over crypto to Bitcoin. They hold it for you, but you can request them to send your gold physically to your location. I hold in Vaultoro and I didn't ask for it. So they're holding my gold for me. I know some people don't like that, but that is part of a much bigger strategy. The second way you buy and the way you get it in your hands right now, today, is you just go to, you buy from Mint Builder or goldsilver.com. Now, Mint Builder, goldsilver.com, Mint Builder usually has cheaper rates. But goldsilver.com sometimes runs promos to their list. And like maybe a couple weeks out of the month, or maybe a week or 2 out of the month, I believe that they can be cheaper than Mint Builder, okay? So those are the only 2 sites I've actually ever bought through. I'm in Mint Builder on the business side. It's like an MLM. So that's great if you want to get involved in that. If you don't really give a shit and you just want to buy gold, silver, totally legit place to buy it. And then goldsilver.com. So if you're getting ready for a big buy, what you do, what any smart person does, is they just weigh out the couple different shopping stores and the places they like to buy from. Who's the cheapest? Cool. Now let's buy my allocation. Let's buy my, $1,000 or $2,000 worth. And what I suggest, if you haven't started allocating to gold and silver, 5% of your earnings per month. Just pull it out, push it to gold and silver. Easy, right? Super, super easy. Silver should look almost identical to gold. Let's just pop that up really quick. Let this load. And then we'll wrap this up. Shit, 30 minutes. These will probably get longer the more I rant. Yeah. Hey, what do you know? Look familiar? Bullish in golf out of that deep bounce off the... oh, that's not an email line. So we had a deep bounce out of here, and just like gold, right? And now price action way slower on gold and silver, but you see we're kind of just moving along out of there, working our way back up, right? So that's it. So tons of countries, tons of fund managers buying gold and silver right now, because a lot of times what happens, here's what actually happens, is just like the 2008 crash. I'm going to start referencing that more, and I've got a whole video series that I'm going to launch on this. But just like the 2008 crash, the crash didn't happen in 2008. It started to build up in 2006. And then it got really serious in 2007, and that's when smart people, like the movie with Christian Bale and Brad Pitt, and I can't remember what it's called, Smart Money or something. Anyways, it's a movie following along the crash of 2007, 2008. So if you haven't watched it, you should probably watch it. But those are real people. One of the guys' names is Barry. He's the guy that The Big Short. There it is. He's the guy that Christian Bale plays. The guy's name is Barry. He's kind of a weird guy. And he started realizing this, and he actually went to the banks and got them to create something new, and they all thought he was crazy because he was essentially trying to short that market. He went to them, got them to create this whole new market, and as time went on to 2007, a ton of people caught on to this and thought, like, maybe this Barry guy's onto something. Well, in the crash, a ton of people made money off of that. A ton of people shorted that whole bubble and made a ton of money off of it. I believe that right now we're dealing with the same thing. If you were to go to the conventions and you were to go and meet with these people, everybody's going to be pumping rainbows up each other's ass that fiat currency is fine. I don't think it is. And so it's going to take a long time, though, for retail money and the public to catch up and realize, and the sentiment to shift, that we're in a fucking mess. And that's why you get things like crypto. That's why you get things like gold and silver, right? I actually didn't leave in a bad mood from that movie. I just think it's an enlightening movie. And I think if I may, I think one of the reasons why we tend to get pissed off when we watch movies like that and we start to think about, like, okay, what if fiat crashes tomorrow? We get mad because we don't have a plan, or we're insecure with our plan. So I find that the more I plan, the more gold I get, the more crypto I get, I'm more and more okay with that. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that I'm celebrating it, or I'm okay with, the carnage that might come out of that. I'm not. But I at least feel safe and secure at a higher level. So I challenge you, if you don't like thinking about stuff like this, to look at your plan. And I challenge you to look deeply at your plan, because chances are that has that's a bigger piece than you realized in terms of how you're feeling about what's going on, right? So anyways, go for it. That's all I got for you guys today. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to start doing these every single day that I possibly can. And we're just looking at the markets really quickly. It's supposed to be 15 minutes, but 30 minutes. Anyways, hope this was really valuable for you. If it was, take a second, click the like button, place a comment with what you think, dig up some research, anything like that. Go ahead and place a comment. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'd love for your help in spreading the message and helping us get this around. So if you got some friends, family that are into crypto, you think they might like this stuff, go ahead and share it with them. I really appreciate you guys. We'll be back tomorrow morning, my time, Singapore time zone, to riff on some more crypto. See you guys.